Paper was like gold in medieval times.
Oh, not tobacco, sugar.
That everything we thought we knew about the world might turn out to be completely wrong.
I've been shot down, bang, 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 bang. And from a string of hope I hang. Then with a twinkle in his eye, he cuts me loose, I fall down at night.
People are still convinced that women with guns is an exotic thing.
But there's never a time in American history without armed women. We live in a culture where guns are symbolic of masculinity and American identity. So where does that leave women?
I felt the fire burn me down. I felt the aching in my heart pound. I felt him leave me like a deep sigh. Ashes to ashes, we all fall down. That flame that lives inside burns me down. I cannot hide. He's indestructible.
I love so many things about guns. They're pretty.
I think about the feel of a gun in my hands, the weight of it, the smell of it. It's hard, it's hot, it explodes, you know, it shoots things out. I mean, all of that sort of stuff that's just totally obvious. From the very, very beginning, guns were part of this unattainable mystery that was the man's world and men.
The perception of a gun in the hand of a woman versus the gun in the hand of a man is very different in that it's already a complex set of associations that people are just going to make without even thinking about it.
To me, to see a woman with a gun is exciting because it's like seeing a bearded woman in this freak show. The rules are being broken. It's very much on the symbolic level.
We looked at some statistics, sir. It was interesting to see just how much gun ownership has gone up amongst females in this country.
Women are discovering what they say is the thrill of the kill.
The gun industry is targeting a new clientele these days, women.
Guns are considered masculine, they're considered dangerous, they're considered violent, they're considered tools of war. Traditional perceptions of female and femininity is sort of the antithesis to that. Talking to different women about guns and their relationships with guns spans such a wide spectrum of religious beliefs and political beliefs and cultural values and ethics. It's not black and white at all.
That's a great paradox of the armed woman. She takes us away from all of our preconceptions about what guns mean. So when we see a woman with a gun, we don't know what to think. Who is she really?
You can get anything you might think of here. This is their version of a frilly vest. My name's Robin Natanel. I'm a single gal. You know, I'm a Tai Chi instructor.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Have any questions on anything?
I do. I'm interested in looking at a 20 gauge shotgun. Not too heavy, not too expensive.
We're gonna start with your standard Remington 870 shotgun. pump action, probably the most common shotgun out there.
Okay.
This one here is a 20 gauge,
Yep.
so it's going to be a lot less kick.
You know, just here right now, my arms are tired.
Benelli also makes an ultralight, 20 gauge, okay, shorter stock.
Yeah, this is it. Is it gonna?
You get what you pay for.
You do. I want a Kia to feel like a Benz. But the Benz feels like a Benz.
Exactly.
This is nice.
Very nice firearm.
Yeah. Was that ever a nice gun? That's a great one.
And then you're getting into your home defense. A lot of people choose the handguns for self-defense because of the concealability.
Right. It's just a little easier. What else have you got?
So a lot of
This is
women.
kind of like shoe shopping for me. So
Oh, really?
this is good.
Most women will detour to a revolver.
Revolver.
A lot less can go wrong with the revolver.
Right. You know, the worst thing that could happen is I would have to shoot this thing, other than at a target.
Well, in a personal defense, they call it the 3 rule. Within 3 feet, 3 shots in 3 seconds. So that's basically how much time you're going to have to decide.
Right. Yeah.
Unfortunately, let's hope that nobody gets there, right?
Right. Exactly. I'd rather run. I've got the purse carry issue.
Yeah, sure.
You guys don't sell any carry purses.
It's a little easier for a man to conceal a firearm.
Yeah.
Where the female gender is.
You know, it's just different in
Yes.
certain aspects.
Plus, I'm sure it has to
carrying is
match
one.
your clothes, correct?
Well, not really, because you're not going to
You're not
see
gonna
it.
see.
So, and black really matches everything.
Gotcha.
But, you know, I have to. This is just a regular purse.
So
Don't
I
look
see
there.
you had
That's
to do a little
all
bit
that's-
of
I had to-
modification,
right, because I can't take the chance of anything
hitting it.
hitting it, even though I do have it in a holster and the trigger is covered and the safety is on and all these things. But still, it's not the most convenient of things. So.
Now you're a woman. Is anything convenient?
I like
See?
you. Next thing I'm gonna need is a gun case. Once I have a second and or third, I'm gonna have to have something I can put them in. These are gorgeous.
Ammo. I had a blue case of it. I'm wondering if I left it over the other range. I was 45 before I ever touched a gun. Daughters left for college. Husband said, let's find something to do together. I thought ballroom dancing was a good choice. He thought going to the gun range was a good choice. But I've come away since then. This shooting, there comes a time when you have got to be willing to go a little faster and give up absolute accuracy. It's still in what would be a main frame, what cops would refer to as a chest cavity. We never refer to it as a chest cavity in shooting sports. We refer to it as the A zone. Going to the range, being educated, it empowered me. I can do anything I want to do in this life if I just want to educate myself about it. From that point on, it became a different way for me to look at guns. I went on then to start organizing ladies' handgun camps throughout the United States. Just because they're not able to do extreme sports does not mean they don't want to participate in a soft adventure. Well, I use the pink as a way to just lighten the mood for women that are terrified. The black single stack I run. I've got a black sniper rifle I use, but all my stuff I use for my shooting sports as a whole is normally two-tone pink, Barbie pink.
Is nuts. I mean, here we are at the SHOT Show, and about every other booth has items that are women specific.
There's a lot of shades of pink, you know, so we went with more of a pastel soft pink. The girl gun market has been very good. The lady gun market has been very good for us.
From the Pretty in Pink line, and it's the bra and thong set with the pink trim. Women love pink.
We're actually working on some shooting clothes for women. So I came up with
a crotchless pant.
It's a gun designed for the concealed carry market. There's over 40 states that allow people to carry concealed, and women make up a great part of that market.
We've had more response to this than anything else that we've introduced in recent years. Paint stock guns. We are so very excited. We're filming and your barrel just got in front of her camera. I'm sorry.
Our lipstick holders, you know, when you get that picture of the big bug, you're going to have your lipstick with you. So I decided to make some special little pouches for that. This one we have as a fashion piece. It's been very, very popular. Cut them extra long because some of the girls like to wear these with high heels. I just like being a girl, but I don't like looking like a man.
I'd been shooting for 3 years with my dad and my brother, American skeet competition. Oh! It was a way to spend time with my dad.
Yeah, it's been pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say so.
Yeah.
We've had quite an adventure.
Quite the adventure. You need to wipe your eyes. My brother and I figured this out, that to spend time with him, we'd go hunting with him. We were his bird dogs. And so he'd shoot down a dove and we'd have to go run for it and pick it up, bring it back. I'd grown up with it. So it's been my life.
When we crossed the line onto the field, first I turned from dad to coach. Here is where we train athletes. We train winners here. We train world championships here, right? We train world champions here. And on this field, we don't play around. It's the Olympics. You're tied with the Russians and the Chinese.
And the Italians.
And the Italians. Every target counts. We're down towards the end. It's the finals.
I'm straight.
We're straight.
Okay.
Turn them up.
Oh! This is a Parazzi MX-8, and I actually just recently started shooting this. Retail, they run about $11,000–12,000. It was waiting for me when I came home from the World Championships. Yes, it's mine, and it's pretty, and I can't stop touching it. It's my best friend. It's my first boyfriend. Really.
I just got this to my birthday. And I was like, I really want a 45. I really want a gun. I want my gun. I want it right where I can get to it if I need it. I love guns because of the things that they represent. It's a lot more than shooting a target when I go shooting. It's me owning a space in my life. It's owning my freedom. It's owning my power. It's owning my womanhood. I'll show you this one. And this is, you know, some people are going to be astonished to see this. But yes, I do not keep it locked. I keep it by my bed and I keep it loaded. So, it's a Lady Smith 45 and it's blue steel and it's just absolutely gorgeous. I just love this gun so much. It's small, it's compact, it's very personal, but it fits my body really well. It is a target non-target status, and you move through the world as a target when you are female, period. We do see and hear things differently because we're constantly concerned about our well-being and our safety. And, you know, those women who aren't come from a very privileged status. I have been stalked and I have been harassed and I have had people online give me a hard time. I've had people threaten me. When I was writing for the San Francisco Chronicle, I got 3 death threats and I was living alone at the time. And I made it publicly known that I have guns and I shoot guns and that I'm comfortable with firearms. And that shifted the discussion significantly. I know a lot of people don't approve of this, and it just makes sense to me.
So these cards they're called self-care cards. Life gets quite busy and we forget about helping ourselves as we're helping everybody else. Namaste. So people ask me how I came to own a handgun. I tell them because I have felt the fear. 6 months ago, I was petrified of them. Would you like an energy circle? Yeah. It's like a Tai Chi prayer. And we can send healing light to those we know need it. I broke up with a fellow that I was dating. He was so rageful, just off the rocker. I immediately changed the lock on my door so he could not get in. 6'3", 295, bodybuilder, with a fist that wide. I knew that one punch would snap my neck back and then I would just be dead. I've never had my mortality in front of my face like that. He broke the glass in the back door and just let himself in. I would sleep in the living room because in my bedroom there was no other way for me to get out except for the door he'd be coming in, and he'd fill the door. If I'm close enough to touch him, he's already got me. I never really thought about it, that the police only come after the bad thing happened. Until now. I didn't first go for a gun. My first choice was a taser or a stun gun. And, oh no, in this state, it's illegal to own a stun gun or a taser. I can shoot him dead, but I can't zap him. Just so that I'm clear about that. And the policeman says it doesn't make sense to me either. So the gun license takes a month to get. So you apply, you pay, you apply, you fingerprint, you picture, all these things, and then they tell you, okay, well, I'll call you in about a month if you're lucky. And I said, what? What am I going to do until then? This guy's after me now. And he just looked at me and he says, well, best I can tell you is to get a bat. There. That's it. We did it, Scruffy. We did it. Okie dokie.
The fantasy of the armed woman has undergone interesting changes over time. But in real life, the first bona fide superstar in American entertainment history was Annie Oakley. She could shoot with the best of them. She was making more money than any other entertainer of her time and place.
She taught 15,000 women to shoot personally because she thought it was that important. In many ways, the history of women and guns is the history of American women. The issues that American women, whether or not they own guns, have had to contend with are reflected in the public representations of armed womanhood. The image of the frontier woman had a lot of currency around the turn of the century. Many people thought that city women were getting too weak and effeminate, they were becoming too educated, and they started to harken back nostalgically to the ideal of this pioneer mother, these super tough women who became American icons. But this golden age of women and guns came to a crashing halt in the 1920s when people began to worry about the threat of female crime. You had the heroines of pulp fiction, including some high society criminal women who were the subjects of stories and novels. By the time the Depression rolled around, crime was becoming an all-American phenomenon. And Hoover and the FBI were very, very concerned. And Hoover wrote extensively about the fact that bad mothers and violent women were responsible for the entire crime epidemic that was sweeping the United States.
You'll never get away with it. Here for the first time is a dramatic picture of the extent and nature of this new girl problem.
So it wasn't just that armed women had their own little share of the problem. It was that women were the problem. Women like Ma Barker of the Carpus Barker Gang and Bonnie Parker of Bonnie and Clyde became symbols of what was wrong with America.
I'm Stephanie Alexander. I'm from out of New Jersey. The reason why I became very active with violent crime victims was because of my daughter. She was shot as an innocent bystander. But I got to spray it, so get back. Spray it strong. Foxy. Now it's gotten out of hand. In less than a month and a half, we've lost 3 people. And it's not the mayor's fault, it's not the coming up mayor's fault, but it is the community that must step up and reach up above that is not being done and stop the violence. We must shout for justice louder than the hush has been for so many years.
Thank you.
So this is where my office is over here. I'm gonna run up. When I see my daughter like this, I was just broken, destroyed, and hurt. I couldn't protect my own child. Ain't nothing like losing a child, I know, because I almost lost mine for nothing. My work is not just my daughter. It was at the beginning. It's now, it's for the people, because guess what? Them people don't know. They don't know, and they stay in a hopeless situation. I have letters at home. A little girl wrote me. Everybody in her family, their holidays are saying everybody's dead. They all got killed by guns. Back in the days, in the 1970s, I was a drug addict, and I wasn't a bum drug addict in the street. I sold drugs. I shoplifted. I didn't just steal little teeny things. That was my main source of survival. And mostly everybody gets a gun. If a drug dealer ain't got no gun, and God forgive me, it's the truth, it's a dead person. He's a dead man walking. Having a gun made me feel like I was invincible. I was really invincible, and I would have hurt somebody, and then I would have had to feel the consequences. Because I feel the consequences of my kid every day. An innocent bystander, shot down by some cowards.
Did you have a gun at the time that Aisha was shot?
Nah. If I had, I'd have shot that boy's mother in her face, in her head, in all sincerity, and took care of one of her kids with me. Because the mother had to feel my pain. Around 1 in the morning, I got a phone call. Aisha was shot. I was numb. I was really numb. We got there, and I bussed past all of the little officers in the front, and I found my daughter. And she couldn't talk. She was shaking like she was freezing cold. And I thought my daughter was going to die right in my face. She said, Mommy, somebody shot me. And I'm dying. And I didn't cry. I'm surprised, but I cried afterwards. I said, do you want to die? She said, no. I said, tell God.
Hi,
Oh, you got pink eyeglasses on.
Happy birthday, sweetie.
Thank you. Oh, I told you don't spend no money, Aisha. Thank you.
So how you doing on your birthday?
I'm fine after I saw you.
I've often replayed a movie that I sort of have made up in my mind called Middle-Aged Woman with Gun. It's about a woman who finds a gun and who looks like me, absolutely, unbelievably boring. Because of finding a gun, she becomes a different person. She looks the same on the outside, but she starts using it. I've been looking for a hobby, I suppose. So I started shooting because of that. It's just kind of for fun. It's like Mom's little thing. And as long as it's encapsulated over as Mom's little thing, it might as well be flower arranging.
My sweet sister blasting away. To see you stand like that, like a profound, blows my mind.
I'm gonna go for my certification for the instructor's license, but I haven't done it yet.
Kills me, the sweetest little girls, and all of a sudden they're shooting targets like they're nothing. I mean, she stands like that, she's got it down pat, she's not scared of it, she just, here, do it.
You're making as much as you can, and this pops on top.
We go through 100 rounds in about 15 minutes.
I bet.
I was a little shocked when Margaret started going to a range. It was a riot, though. We had a good time. Now I hear she's better than you. She was better than me. Look at this. Let's hear. Oh, she had groupings that were unbelievable.
Did she say anything about feeling like a little bit of power in there?
No.
Is like no?
Not really.
Did she act like it? Like, power?
No. It was kind of like everything went away. All her problems went away, and she focused on this. This is what I'm doing. And she'd even sit there and breathe and then pick up the gun and shoot. So all her problems went away. All she had to worry about was the target.
It's very interesting to hear what you guys think of me from behind.
You like guns, you can sit here and talk about them. We have a good time and everything, but you won't bring them home.
I have an apartment with 2 bedrooms. Where am I putting it to begin with? And where am I putting it that it's so far away that the boys don't know where it is or whatever else?
If you do have a break-in and you shoot straight over and you miss, it's going through that wall and killing your kid.
That's exactly true.
Did you ever show your children how to check for a loaded gun?
I have never instructed them at all.
That might be a good idea, huh?
The only people that they've ever been around guns have been in a controlled situation at the family fun day where the gun owner is standing right next to them, loads it for them, hands it to them, shows them what to do, make sure they're safe. That's the only way we've ever done it.
It'd be nice for schools and some of these other people to teach kids that guns kill.
Nobody means to shoot their friend. Nobody does, but it happens. We're not having a gun in the house. It's too attractive to the friend who comes over. It's just too attractive, especially for teenage boys. They're just getting
show
into
off
it.
the gun.
Yeah, showing off. There's too many accidents, not in my house.
I'm out at my parents' farm, way out in the boondocks of Alabama. There's nobody that lives nearby. I have a .22 pistol that I'm going to shoot. It's a revolver. This is my gun. I liked it because it was pretty. It has this pretty handle, pretty wood on it. If I wanted to, they make pearl handles to go on it. I can go buy my set of pearl handles. I am your basic 40-year-old housewife with a bunch of kids.
You want me to shoot?
Yeah, we'll shoot together.
Okay. You can talk to me and see if I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
No. Now I can.
I don't feel any different about it than I feel about being a woman with a food processor. It's just something I have. It's always been part of my life. When I was a teenager, there was a little bit of that, I can do this, I'm empowered kind of thing. I think that's it. But, you know, as an adult, people don't pick on me anymore. And so I don't lose my temper, and I don't wish that I could shoot anybody or hurt someone. You fill a milk jug full of water and you hit it with a .50 caliber bullet. It is very dramatic and it's quite exciting to watch. It just explodes. For me, it was a way to get my mind off of what was bothering me, to focus on something else, and maybe to hone a skill that I knew these people didn't have. And so because I could do something that they couldn't do, I could feel a little superior. Sure, a gun hurts somebody, but it is fun to shoot a clay pigment. You know, to see this thing flying up in the air and you shoot it with a gun and it flies into pieces, and so everybody around knows that you hit that. Thank you. It's just a release. Show off.
I was a drive-by shooter, and I got caught up in the mix. My life changed in a matter of 5 minutes. The bullet went in right here, and then it came out back here. I just want to wake up one day and just figure like this is a bad dream. But that's not reality. This is reality. And the doctor had told my mom I was going to be a vegetable. I wasn't going to be able to do nothing but move my eyes back and forth. He told her to pull a plug, and the first thing I said was, am I in Muhlenberg Hospital? Then the second thing I said was, is my hair done? And my mom said, that's my Aisha. But I know, like now, I'm in a vulnerable situation. I could be walking down the street, somebody will push me out my wheelchair and snatch my pocketbook. Nowadays, everybody got a gun. You know how you get dressed and put on your shoes and stuff like that? People get dressed and they put on their gun, just like an outfit.
You can get a gun easy.
This day and age, even if I wasn't in the wheelchair, I probably would still carry a gun. Last Valentine's Day, that was my Valentine's Day present to myself. It's a little, I think I said 25, 22, 25. I go to, the only person I probably don't carry is therapy. If I feel as though my life is threatened, before you even get to me, I got something that I'm gonna back you the fuck up off me, like back the fuck up. Like I would tell you, like back up. I mean, you know when you feel as though you in threat, you in danger, you know what I mean? The good thing is they can protect you, and the bad thing if they get in the wrong person's hands, look what happens. That's how I look at it. They good. Like with anything, it's a gift and a curse. You adapt to your environment. Like I had to adapt to this wheelchair stuff, you know. If you living in the ghetto and there's guns around you, you adapting to your environment. But if you living in Beverly Hills and you growing up shopping, stressing about, oh, am I going to get the latest Prada shoes that's out? And the kids in the ghetto, they not thinking about that. They thinking about, am I going to eat tomorrow?
When we take a look at the statistics, we find that 1 out of every 4 women in her lifetime in this country will be the victim of some type of sexual assault, and 40% of the victims wind up in the morgue or in the ICU. Fight like hell. You've got nothing to lose. And if your particular weapon of choice is what's on that table, I absolutely guarantee to you that nobody ever raped Mrs. Smith or Mrs. Wesson.
In the 1980s, handgun manufacturers began to aggressively market to women again because handgun sales were flat. Divorce rates were way up, so there were plenty of single mothers and just single women out there. It was easy to play on women's fears.
Fear is profitable for the gun industry. That's really, absolutely fundamentally at the heart of their agenda. And they are very, very clearly seeing the relationship between fear and profit.
Society wants to reinforce this notion of women as being always potential victims of violence. It comes in through your pores from every source. We go through periods where the media is convulsed with these images of women in peril that we're all supposed to be obsessed about and excited by. And I think that that's certainly a source for a lot of anger and a lot of fear, which is the source of most anger, I think.
How fearful should you be? I mean, I think that's a question that comes up for all of us all the time, especially women. Are you being paranoid? Are you being sensible? How do you make that choice?
So we have a choice of targets from back here. I put up a bullseye down there, but we also have the
People
humanoid.
ones.
Yeah, the people ones. This kind.
Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Loaded. Drop the hammer. Excellent. Put the gun in there. You really want it to be as realistic as possible.
Kind of nervy with the bullet in it.
You feel
No,
the fact that you have a loaded gun with you now. where you didn't
Exactly.
before. Good.
Hate that.
How'd that feel?
Okay.
You did
Mhm.
it very smoothly. Nothing
Yeah,
else.
I would just,
Prefer different.
aesthetically, I would go with something different, I think. But
Well, there are many, many styles of gun persons.
Right, yep.
Boy, look at that group. Right?
I-
I mean, any of those targets would be in a really vital area if that were a person. Very nice.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Thank you.
So do you want to use your carry ammo on a surprise target?
Yeah.
All right. Whenever you are ready, you can turn around and do whatever you think needs to be done.
This is really weird. Okay. Oh.
I didn't have to time those to know that you were shooting nice and fast, but look at that accuracy.
Okay, well,
Every
I'm
one of
gonna
those
do-
shots was in a very vital area. Yay.
Cool.
Yay.
High five.
Yay. Yes. You got him.
Thank you.
got
That
it.
was cool. Thank you. I'm going to have to give him a name when I hang him up.
By being competent with a firearm and getting good instruction is so important. Just having the gun will not save your life. A gun won't make you safe any more than owning a piano will make you a musician. You have to have lessons and you have to practice.
What scared me most is that I just shot the guy. I didn't go, well, this is creepy because it's a person. This is a first picture person, I mean, you have like outlines of people, but that I just, bam, 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 bam. I walk a fine line with all of this. To take life, even though you're saving your life, it's still a fine line for me. Before it is just, a round target. Now this had a little more meaning.
This is Justin McKinley. He's 13 weeks old, and he is my pride and joy. He's my angel. I couldn't be a prouder parent. My husband died on Christmas Day of complications from chemotherapy and stuff. I'm trying to hold myself together until I can have some time to deal with it. He was everything to me. The gun I used was a lot bigger than this gun, a lot longer. It was probably about 4 foot tall. It was a big hunting rifle. Nice, beautiful gun. I actually kept it. It was actually my husband's gun. I kept it for my son so that he would have something to remember his dad by. And now it's kind of crazy that it's a gun that saved our lives. So. It's just in case this gun didn't go off or for some reason I missed him, I had this gun ready. I think somebody's here.
You doing okay?
A little jumpy,
Yeah.
but other than that.
I don't blame you.
Man, thank you guys so much about that car. Oh my gosh.
I wanted it done before Kenneth passed away.
Thank you guys so very much.
I promised him so.
Thank
We'll
you.
see you. Take care of
Thank you,
yourself.
Kevin.
Big
I
up.
appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you
You
later.
guys have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. That is my husband's mule. Anybody in the world can ride her. She's so dang gentle. It's just nothing but pasture out there for 2,000 acres. I need to get me a case for this or something. I don't feel comfortable holding it with the baby, but I don't feel comfortable being outside without it either. It's no fun. It's scary. Watching your back all the time, always looking behind you, but this is a police department. Hello? Yes. I'm in shock, I guess. I can't even leave. I mean, I can't even go outside to feed my horses because I'm scared. No. I mean, I'm walking around my house carrying a gun and my baby, you know? I mean, I want to feel safe in my own home. All right, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Okay, bye-bye. That's my door he busted in. You see the cake marks on the door? Bet he wouldn't break down my new door, though. Got a pretty good one now. A few days ago, a guy knocked on my door and something just didn't feel right about it. When you think something's wrong, it's because it is wrong. So I put the couch in front of the door, trying to use it as a barricade, and I got my shotgun and I went in the bedroom with my son, put a bottle in his mouth so that he wouldn't scream. Got a pistol and I called 911. I waited for 21 minutes while he tried to bust in both doors. I don't think he'll ever get over the sounds of it. I think it was the worst part. When he broke into my house, I just shot him. I didn't know what else to do. But the 911 dispatcher was on the line when I pulled the trigger. She just told me to do what I had to do to protect my son, and I did. She said, "Stay calm, the police will be here shortly," and a few seconds later they arrived. They told me that, you know, I did the right thing, that I wasn't gonna have any charges brought against me, and that, you know, it's definitely legal to shoot somebody who intrudes into your house. But I never practiced self-defensively with guns. I mean, I never even thought to. But it's not something you think is gonna happen to you. Seeing all the blood, it kind of made me realize that he really did die. I just cleaned it up and, you know, I try not to think about what happened. You can say, "Oh, I'd do it, it'd be easy," all you want until you've been in the situation. But it's very hard to know that he has a family out there and he has people that love and care about him. And it's sad, you know, that they have to go through this. I don't know where his diaper wipes went. There they are. Oh, I'm nervous now. Being by myself in the middle of nowhere. But I think they're gonna send an officer out 24 hours. But I tell you what I do is I do carry this gun with me. You know, I don't have a concealed carry. I'm gonna do what I have to do. Someday I'm gonna have to tell my little boy that I killed a person, but I just hope that he can understand I did it to protect him.
guns really only became very problematic for women post-World War II in our culture. Men returned from the front and women were expected to put down their drills and pick up their vacuum cleaners.
So simple now compared to the days when we were first married, Gus. No matter what the job is, there are machines to take the hard work out of it.
By the time you get to the 1960s, you see a whole new wave of armed women. The left really fetishized weaponry, and women were supposed to be just as tough as men, and they were supposed to be able to actualize themselves through violence. The female outlaw was a really powerful image. Gun ownership has always been tied up with race in this country. In fact, 2/3 of the Black Panther Party members were women.
I'm a mother. Have my baby in one hand, my gun in the other. I just want to deal with black and black liberation.
It's an interesting moment in feminism because on the one hand, you have feminists who say women are different, we're not warlike like men. And then on the other hand, you have this whole strain of feminism that says we are just as tough, and to compete in the movement, we need to arm ourselves. During the Vietnam War, 7,500 women deployed to a combat zone. In the first Gulf War, we had 41,000. Now the number is well over 250,000 who have been deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan, and that's a game changer. The woman soldier in combat represents something different entirely. What does that do to our ideas about women and guns?
I've been in the military 26 years. I came in 1979. There are very few women in the Marine Corps, of all the services particularly. I was with the first group of women to ever be deployed with an air unit, a squadron, deployed overseas. And this was during the Gulf War. The government can say all you want, you're not an occupying force, but we were occupying Iraq. And you're given a gun, and there's no law. It's the wild, wild west. It's Dodge City. But in real life, metaphorically, but not so metaphorically, there's a beast inside everyone. When you're in a combat situation like that, it becomes literal. And it was a little scary to see people that you knew turn into someone else entirely because there's this power. You know, there's always the people that you work with or your friends that you go, oh my God, he's so immature, it's ridiculous. Take that same person, put him in an environment where he's in absolute control and he has a gun with live ammunition. Now it's not funny. Now it's a little creepy and a little scary. It's just that sense of power. And there's something dormant inside all of us that likes that. I don't care who you are, what kind of personality you have. You feel in control, you feel confident, you feel assured, and you really have to keep a check on yourself. You can feel it happening to you. 9mm. This is my favorite right here. This is Sophia. She's a sleek little Italian. This one had rubber handguards on it, and it looked like a murder weapon you found on the street. Put nice little wooden handguards on it, and now it's a cowboy gun. And they have all kinds. Pink, pearlescent, whatever. So it's kind of like Barbies. It's just, what I want to do. And the only other one I want to get is one of those little tiny, little Miss Kitty action.
I was 20 years old when I came here. I've been here for 14 years. I bought a weapon because I was concerned about living alone. I thought I was going to get a gun, but at the time I was 18 years old and they told me I couldn't purchase a gun. But they told me that I could purchase a hunting rifle. I'm in here because I killed my girlfriend. When I was 9 years old, I ended up being molested by my father, and I guess that kind of made me paranoid about being alone in an apartment and like maybe a man coming in or something and trying to rape me. And I just didn't want that to happen to me again. I was holding a lot of anger inside, like I'd always done. Tanya started living with me. Everything was pretty good at first, but then we started running into problems. I was afraid that I was gonna lose her, and I just felt desperate that day. She overpowered me. She drew back like she was gonna punch me, and but then she told me that you know, she didn't want to fight, so she just let me go. So I got the rifle and I loaded it. The first thing she said when she saw it was, "Oh no, you're not going to." But she didn't even get to finish the sentence because that was when I started shooting. If I hadn't had a gun, if I just had a knife, I know I wouldn't have been able to stick the knife into her flesh. It was just too easy for me to pull a trigger. At first, the weapon was something that I felt could protect me, but it became just a tool for destruction. I committed the worst crime I could have committed. I didn't want to hurt her. Even though I did. I just snapped.
You still like me now, Jack?
The classic story of a woman with a gun in mainstream film in America is that she's a victim of something. That's why she picks up a gun.
Come quickly. I've just killed an intruder.
We have a lot of really narrow characters and stereotypes that women fit into.
Freeze, police!
When they're shown with guns or shown shooting.
You've been fucked by a knife.
There's always a reason for a woman to have a gun. It's because they killed her family. It's because she was raped.
I said, suck my cock.
It's because she's a magical assassin.
When I was an angel, we used guns.
In gun circles, if you see a picture of somebody and they have their gun up like that, it's called the Sabrina pose because that's from the original Charlie's Angels.
Bastard. You're gonna pay for what you did to me.
That whole image, which you see everywhere when you see guns with the gun up at the face, there's no practical reason for that. It's to get the sexy gun and the sexy girl in the same picture frame.
In some cases, female directors do handle women with guns differently, but for the most part, they're still playing to Hollywood. It's a marketplace.
We're out here at the Hogue Range doing some research and development with our new products for the AK-47.
One of the rules of the automatic bikini girl videos is that the women have to be bimbos, and they can't really be all that good at the weapons. These aren't particularly empowered women. I mean, it's all about seeing the jiggle that happens. It's absolutely critical that they be soft and rounded and not too muscular and not too dangerous and never threatening in any way.
It has the most base level appeal possible, a girl and a gun to a guy, because it's sex and power.
I think that some do find women and guns sexy. I think that some really find the imagery offensive. I love it. I think it's hot. I love seeing women with guns. I love seeing girls with guns.
No.
Can we try with real bullets now?
I like to see pictures of women with guns because it makes me feel strong, it makes me feel empowered. I remember the scene in The Terminator where Linda Hamilton field strips an AR-15, cigarette dangling from her mouth, and she's just got these, you know, arms, and she's like pulling this thing apart, and she's just doing it so powerfully and nonchalantly, and I was just like, whew.
I think I just love seeing women explore areas of power that have been off limits for them.
I gotta say, Mrs. Burnham, when you first came here, I thought you would be hopeless. But you're a natural.
Well, all I know is I love shooting this gun.
This is the request from Santa. It's little boy sized. It's cute. Now he's told me that he told Santa that he wanted a real gun for Christmas. So Mom and Dad are getting it for him, not Santa. Santa might be a little picky on the gun department. Delivering, I don't know. This is some ammo. He tells everybody, I want a real gun, I want a real gun. He's too young to take the hunter safety course. He can take it, he just can't get certified. You can't get certified until you're 10 years old. He'll be 8 in August. So he's got a little ways to go. It's funny, I remember my first gun, it was a 12 gauge, but it was my first gun that I owned by myself. It was a gift for Christmas. I was a tomboy, so I did all the things that boys did. Climbed trees, went hunting, played football, all the things little girls weren't supposed to do, typically. We have our gun case over there. It's got several in there. We're not lacking on the guns, that's for sure. This is our muzzle loader. This is black powder. This is Scott's first gun. It's a 410, and he gave it to his daughter. 12 gauge pump. This one, let me see. No, this is Scott's gun. Then we have another shotgun. Then we have a 22, just for, you know, squirrel hunting. Small handgun. I've carried this on trips. Then we have another handgun, not for certain where it's at. We never keep any of them loaded. I don't feel there's a need to keep a gun loaded under your pillow, because, I mean, it's good to have them, but it's not something that I would do with the kids in the house. I guess we'll take it in and put it under the tree. See what he thinks about it. We're gonna light up the Christmas tree. Much better. Don't point it at someone. You know better than that. 5 o'clock. Nobody else, I think. Sunday morning? Oh, they're sleeping. November 13th, 12 days before my 9th birthday. I was with my grandmother that day. It was in the evening, and we got a phone call, and my grandmother answered the phone, and she started screaming and crying, and the only thing she told me was that my brother had been shot. He was 14, and my dad had already told him, don't go into the woods unless I'm there. Well, my grandfather pulled up and was going to unload his hunting dogs, so he asked my grandfather, can I go into the woods with the neighbor boys? So they got into the woods a little ways, and my brother was always a big jokester, so he thought he was pulling a little prank, and he pointed and said, there's a deer. And the other boy pulled the trigger, and it hit my brother in the back of the neck.
He died from that gunshot. It's so hard. It's always hard. People say that you get over stuff, but you don't. No, not when someone's really close to you. When my brother passed away, my dad stopped hunting, sold all of his guns, didn't have anything else to do with it, but I continued. It makes me think about safety a lot. I want to make sure that my kids know to be safe with the gun. This may seem really weird, but I think that when I'm in the woods, I feel very close to him. And I guess because that was a lot of my memories, is being in the woods with him and my dad. I miss him a lot, and we just had a very strong bond.
Thank you. God bless you. Have a good week.
If you have an immediate family member who has been shot, would you raise your hand? Staggering. Okay, what families don't need, what victims and survivors don't need? Platitudes.
The comment was always, I feel for their loss, but.
Oh, yeah.
Or, I'm very sorry they lost their daughter, but.
Yeah.
And it was always this token sympathy, but.
Yeah, that's
but I love my guns more than, you know.
No, that's huge.
Gee, I guess they were in the wrong place
at the wrong time.
That just spoils my blood.
You can always have more kids. Oh my God. You gotta learn to move on.
When my daughter was shot, the church that I belonged to, one of them asked me, was she saved? What does that have to do with the bullet that entered an innocent child? Because she has to be saved, the bullet would have went past her and went somewhere else.
They love to use the word closure. They found the gun, that should bring closure. They've identified the murderer,
They
that
locked
should.
up the killer.
They locked up the killer. The body was found, that should bring closure. There's no such thing as closure. It's their way of dismissing it. Don't think about it anymore.
I'm not one that will cry, boo-hoo-hoo-hoo. I'm one of those fight. And when Aisha was shot, I had to learn to tap into those negative emotions and turn them into positive. I was angry, so I went to go get some help. I went down and I went for some therapeutic help. Yes, I could be in therapy to the day I die, but I found out with getting out, doing things, seeing a difference, making a difference. That's what gave me the medicine of healing for me. There's a lot to be grateful for, but you have to think about it.
Is that Jewel? What to do with my gun today was an issue. Because normally I take it with me in my purse, but I don't want to leave my purse with a gun in it. I don't want to leave it here either. So I put it in the lock box, and then I'm going to lock the lock box in the glove compartment and lock that. The laws don't allow me to just lock it in the glove box and then leave the car.
Know something before you get in, Joel. Let me see if this fits.
Nope, not gonna fit. Now I'm kind of stuck. What's plan B? I don't want to leave it home. Oh, I hate this. This is the part I don't like. I don't...
When you take care of a gun, it's like taking care of a child. You have to make sure it's safe and it's protected and it's in the right spot. It's a big responsibility. Off we go. Okay, I'm kind of excited. Here we go. Here we go.
Self-defense is really about communication. You have to use your voice. All these weapons that I brought out are really just distractions. When you read about self-defense, they make it very simple. Always you're going to see a picture of the bad guy, and the bad guy has a gun. In reality, it's not that easy. If you're going to attack somebody, you're not going to make it that obvious.
Don't you think that we need to practice the voice? When do we yell? You know, just this group of gals here. When do you yell in a day? And when do we yell from there? We don't.
You're practicing assertive communication.
Right.
That's what you're doing.
There you go. Oh, nice. You're a force to be reckoned with. Okay.
Here's a question over here. What if it is a big person? In that situation, you would want to hit them where? Nobody likes to get hit in the face.
Do you think that angers them more, though? I mean, when they get angry, they get stronger?
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, lots of people are afraid of getting the other person angry. At this point, it's not really about the other person being angry, because your goal is to try to get away.
Look, you. I knew I'd find you at some point.
Excellent. Yes, that's it.
I'm willing to do it. I'm absolutely willing to do it. But the aftermath was guilt. It didn't stop me from doing it.
Yes.
But the aftermath of doing it still had a consequence for me emotionally.
Right, which makes sense, but it's a relatively minor consequence. It wasn't that big of a deal.
Oh, sure.
Okay? Because they didn't do something like stab him, cut him with a knife, and shoot him, and all that other stuff. So who cares?
You never look weak. You have to look strong.
I don't know. I really don't think I could hit somebody with any of these things.
You might surprise yourself, though, if you felt threatened.
Maybe.
In any situation, I'm not an assertive person. You know, so I'm having to find an assertive person inside the shy person.
You're okay being angry, right? You know how to do that. You know how to be afraid. But can you actively choose to be assertive in that situation? And that takes practice.
You help. You really help. Just hearing you yell like that helps us feel okay to yell like that.
It's not as unusual for me to be able to raise my voice and be assertive.
Right.
And for females, it's a much more learned behavior, and it requires some practice. But we're, you know, other than gender, we're in the same body. Maybe the volume's a little different.
I think we probably may be like you guys, except for we're socialized and to know, be quiet and nice, and it's okay for you to be. So we just have to get out of the socialized thing, right? First, we're learning just to speak.
You have to.
It's amazing. Let her rip.
Perfect.
Thank you, Bob. That
Thank
was really
you.
good.
Thanks,
I
Robin.
appreciate it. I appreciate the whole thing. It's
Great.
really cool. In the end, my inner strength has nothing to do with that gun. But in the beginning, it had everything to do with that gun. I realized that just my presence can deter. I can use my voice. That's always with me. It's just made me feel, I can't even think of a word, like full. Like, okay, I'll use powerful, but in a full way, not in a power way, you know. I just feel like I'm a better human being after having done this today. Yeah, it's good. I don't want to cry, but it's good.
The question of whether women need guns or not is a very tricky one. I don't think that guns are right for everybody, no matter their gender. Using a gun doesn't make a woman more masculine, but I think that a lot of people probably have the perception that it does.
Guns are symbols of male power, male authority, and also male initiation. Women aren't burdened with all that stuff. We don't have any masculinity to prove, and so I think that makes our gun use significant in and of itself.
The gun carries with it the baggage of human-to-human violence. I mean, it is an object to maim and kill with. If I focus too much on that, I don't like it anymore. I prefer it remain firmly in the symbolic realm, distanced enough from the reality of violence.
Ultimately, I don't think a gun gets you what feminism should get women. I mean, you can't shoot your boss if you want a pay raise. A gun is not going to get you daycare and equal pay and all of those other things.
It's complicated, it's deep, and it's very, very wound up in socialization, in sexuality, in gender, and power, and all these sorts of things. And we have many, many different complicated and ambivalent feelings about them. But every now and then, there's nothing better than running through the woods half naked, screaming at the top of my lungs and shooting an assault rifle.